Hello trainers, Ganeto here, and today we're getting Great League back into Go Battle League. So with that said, you already know what is coming from my videos because we're gonna have the best teams for Great League. So today not only we're gonna showcase 4 teams in total, but also we're gonna analyze the strategy behind each team, how to play each team, and of course their core breakers, so that you can have a clear understanding of each individual team and how to use it properly on Great League. So starting off with the first team over here, and you are already seeing that Swampert is gonna be up in front. I'm using a Shadow Swampert, but I do not think that it is gonna be a must-have. The moveset, yeah, you need Hydro Cannon, you need Mudshot, and of course you need Earthquake. I do not recommend going for Sludge Wave even against the grass types, because when you're having a Pokemon like Swampert, you are mostly gonna try to cover those weaknesses with your backline. And speaking of backlines, we're having a heavy backline to cover that grass weakness that our Swampert is having at the best point ever. So at the back we're gonna have Drapion, and unlike Swampert, you definitely need Shadow on this Pokemon, because with Shadow Drapion you manage to get 2 shots against a Lantern, against a Skarmory, against Altares if you are lucky. And as you can see here, Altaria is also happening to be a core breaker for this team. So stay tuned, this is gonna be a crazy team for you to start off your Great League matches. Also on the plus side, this Pokemon Shadow Drapion is having access to Aqua Tail, which is an even spammier move than Crunch, and I believe that can easily replace that Sludge Bomb that Shadow Drapion is gonna have, because Aqua Tail is gonna give you more play towards your actions. As a closer, I decide to have a Pokemon like Mandibuzz, and I really like this Pokemon with Snarl and Aerial Ace, which was buffed this season, while we're also gonna use Dark Pulse over Foul Play. Thing is that you already have a spammy charge attack like Aerial Ace, and with Dark Pulse you can still get that extra damage a little bit more than Foul Play, and obviously it's gonna work towards your advantage towards the end of the battle, because back-to-back Dark Pulses are just might be enough for any battle out there to settle the final outcome towards your side. Right into the next team showcase, and we're having already a different vibe from this team. So this line is gonna rely a lot on those charge stacks to be extremely useful. I recommend going with a lot of attitude against your opponent. You need to charge up always extra with this team, because bait is all that makes everything great on Great League. What a surprise! So we're gonna use up in front the amazing Pelipper. Never go straight for those weather balls, instead try to get the overfarm with that Hurricane potentially throwing at your opponent, then go for the baits, and in no time you can get some easy seals out of your opponent. Of course it's up to you, but this is just a general tip overall. As a closer, we have a Pokemon like Serperior that I recommend going with Frenzy Plant and Aerial Ace. With Vine Whip you can get there to those Aerial Aces fairly fast this season, because of that crazy move update that we have had on the Adventures Abound. And of course with Frenzy Plant you can get the nuke against things that your Pelipper might be afraid of, excuse me about that. And of course one of these things can always be something like a Lantern, which is pretty neat. Speaking of lanterns, we have another check for that electric type in total, and that is the ground pre-god of Great League, and that is the amazing Galarian Stunfisk. Of course Galarian Stunfisk is not gonna see that much play like it used to, because of all those mud bombers getting used around the meta, but still it is gonna have its sole place as a protector to your team. And of course if you have a Pokemon like this Pelipper, of course not only it's gonna protect against the electric types, but also against steel types like Registeel, which happens to be a core breaker for this team. Registeel not only has Zap Cannon for your Pelipper, but also has access to Focus Blast to threat both of your backline Pokemon if you are not careful at all. But this team can still, with a little bit of synergy, pass through a Registeel as well. We just saw Registeel as a core breaker, but let's see it now as a leader for the next team showcase. So this team is looking very strong, to be fair. We're looking at the Registeel up in front, the Metal Trash Can with Focus Blast and Zap Cannon. Don't go with Flash Cannon, don't go with Hyper Beam, you do not need those nukes. The only nukes you need are Focus Blast and Zap Cannon, while Lock-On will get you there, not fairly fast, but still at a very good portion of time. At the back we're gonna use Gligar, which is one of the best Pokemon Pokemon from this season's move update, especially not only with that IRLS but also with Dig having kinda of an update on its own. So with Wing Attack as your fast attack, you have nothing to worry about. Night Slash, not that much of a big move for Gligar, but still IRLS and Dig are just gonna do it for you, and Gligar is one of the safest pick overall for the meta, so that's why we're having it here as a pivot, as a safe switch. As a closer now, we're gonna use Jellicent, which is the ideal Pokemon to close this team, since both of our backline Pokemon with Gligar and the front line with Red Steel are still gonna struggle against Mud Boys, and with your Jellicent you're still gonna get some coverage on that matter. And speaking of Mud Boys, yeah, the core breaker of this team is of course Swampert. So the main strategy with this team is that if you have it up in front, you have to sacrifice Red Steel, but if you do not have it up in front, you can always bait it out with your Gligar. A high heavy Gligar can still survive with his one Hydro Cannon, while then you can do as much damage as you can to that Pokemon, farm down with your Locons, or just go in with your Jellicent and absolutely wreak havoc with those energy farmed up points towards your opponent. I think that this team has a lot to offer. A little bit of synergy is what will make it a lot of successful in the meta of Great League, and that's why I recommend to you. As we are approaching into the final one trainers, you are already seeing that we have the unbreakable core of Medicham up in front, and of course a Lickitung as a safe switch. In between, we're gonna fit in there a Bastiodon, and this team is severely weak to double fighting lines. With that aside though, if you can bait correctly all the time that fighter out of the way, most probably they are gonna have something like a Deoxys or something like a Medicham at the back with your Lickitung, then you can still finish it off either with those licks and the body slams, or just do cheap damage with your Lickitung and then finish off that Pokemon with your own Medicham. With that fighter out of the way, perhaps then with 2 shields or 1 shield, depending on the scenario, your Bastiodon will most likely have the upper hand on whatever remains at the back. So a core breaker for this team can easily be something like a Medicham, but of course Deoxys is gonna be a much better core breaker for this team, because not only can beat down your backline, but also has access to Thunderbolt, and of course in the long term of the battle it can still finish off a Pokemon like Medicham. Of course all those battles are gonna be kinda weird and kinda close, so I would not be that much worried about a Medicham or something like a Deoxys, but most likely about having a Mud Boy as a closer for my opponent, because then you cannot predict that, and this is the only scenario that I can see this team failing, because that fighter can easily be drawn out with your Lickitung, and obviously at some point you're gonna have a very good battle overall. So this team not only is gonna get you some easy wins as you can see, but also it is gonna help you a lot climbing on that ladder. This is a small risk high gain team that will definitely get you some elo in no time for Great League and in total in Go Battle League. So that is gonna be all for today, trainers. Thank you for watching and for staying till the end. Please write down in the comment section what you think about my teams, and what is gonna be your main secret sauce. What are you gonna use for that final rotation? Have you already achieved your dreams on this season, or are you still pushing for that milestone that you are aiming for? I'm really eager to see what you are gonna do on the final rotation of this week, because let's be real with each other, that was not the best rotation that we have had this season. So with that said, once again, thank you for watching. Become a subscriber if you are already not one, and with that said, I have 2 videos for you to check out. Feel free to check them out, and I will catch you up later into the next one.